Hi, and thanks for joining me today. I'm Cheryl Butler, and you're listening to the Mighty Mommy's Quick and Dirty Tips podcast, which will help make your life as a parent a little bit easier and a lot more fun. Welcome. Today's episode is number 537, 8 Valuable Lessons Learned from Toy Story. Because this isn't just one of the all-time favorite Disney Pixar film series based sheerly on an entertainment value, it's loaded with priceless learning moments as well. My kids and I kicked off our summer season with an incredibly special family night. We hit the movie theater and enjoyed an amazing road trip with Woody, Buzz, and the other endearing iconic characters of Disney's Toy Story 4 for their best adventure yet. What struck me most about watching this inspired group of lovable and heroic toys rally yet again for the love of their kid was how many incredible life-learning moments the series has taught us for nearly 25 years. As the mom of 8 kids, I thought I'd share 8 of my favorite takeaways from this Pixar masterpiece. The first one, change is the only constant, so embrace it. As parents, we learn quickly that although we'd love for time to stand still when we embrace our newborn for those first sweet weeks, the infant stage won't last. They outgrow their newborn diapers and onesies faster than even Buzz's light year travels. As parents, we watch our kids grow in leaps and bounds. Their personalities, habits, weaknesses, and their strengths change faster than the speed of light. Thank you, Buzz. But many of us dislike change. In 8 Reasons Why It's So Hard to Really Change Your Behavior, columnist David DeSalvo says, one review of 129 behavior change studies found that the consistently least effective change strategies hinged on fear and regret. As much as this sounds like a platitude, real change needs a positive platform to launch from. You need positive, self-edifying reasons for taking on the challenge. And I agree, fear is definitely a factor that makes many of us dread change. We have no control over the things that we can't predict or know until we've experienced them. Toy Story 3 portrayed this message beautifully. Andy, the child whose toys make up the characters in Toy Story, is preparing to depart for college. Although they have mixed feelings about watching him leave, Woody observes how the owner's family is able to embrace the new adventures that await Andy. Now, Woody realizes it's time for him to do the same thing. He recommends that he and his friends be passed along to a new child, Bonnie, to start a new beginning of their own. As Andy drives down the road, Woody sadly whispers, "So long, partner," accepting that it's time to move on. Oh, I cried for hours after that scene. Toy Story helps us realize that we can't stop change. It's necessary to help us grow and learn. And as parents, we need to embrace it to raise successful, independent young adults. Even actor Tom Hanks, the voice of Woody, agrees. To be alive is to be in a constant state of change. Practice acceptance is another of the lessons. If you didn't see the original Toy Story movie, you missed the clever and infamous scene where Woody and the rest of Andy's close-knit family of toys wait to hear what new gifts Andy received for his birthday. You're anxious about the possibility of a new toy replacing one of them. Enter Buzz Lightyear, the toy with super cool laser beams and space gear. Now, the old-fashioned Sheriff Woody doll, Andy's favorite toy for years, has some pretty stiff competition. As the leader of the toy pack, Woody puts aside his feelings of jealousy and intimidation and reluctantly welcomes Buzz to Andy's room. And so the adventure begins. The variety of toys portrayed in the Toy Story series truly offered a glimpse into the diversity that surrounds families in our everyday lives. There were pretty toys, brave ones, artistic types, colorful, and plain toys. Some had accessories that made them exceptional, while others were basic and no frills. The bottom line was that every toy was unique in its own way. And regardless of its size, color, price tag, or extra bells and whistles, Every toy in Andy's room was accepted as an individual. The lesson of acceptance is one of the most important in each of the Toy Story movies. We're humbly reminded that our children, family members, and friends all have their unique talents, strengths, and faults. We need to be accepting of them regardless of our differences. Next, tune in to your inner voice. There is no shortage of entertaining and riveting banter between Woody and Buzz. But Buzz, who continually faces challenges, had to make important decisions as the result of listening to another important voice, his own. Toy Story handled this brilliantly. Buzz simply pushed one of the buttons on his expansive chess gear every time he faced a crisis. He selected one of the buttons, and whatever message was delivered was how he'd respond to his current predicament. In real life, we don't come equipped with a series of buttons to randomly push when we need to solve a problem. But we do have something equally powerful, our inner voice. Your conscience speaks to you when you're struggling with difficult choices or other uncomfortable situations that crop up in our busy parenting lives. One way to get in tune with your inner voice is to create blocks of quiet time throughout your week so you can simply get in touch with your own thoughts and feelings. And a great way to do this is by meditating. In Quick and Dirty Tips, How Meditation Can Improve Concentration, you can learn some expert tips on how to quiet your mind and tune into your inner voice. No button pushing required. Now, dream big. Woody was known for many things, and one of his remarkable characteristics was his pull-string quotes. Probably my favorite, and certainly the most meaningful, was, "Reach for the sky." Sure, it's an idiom from movie westerns for put your hands up, but I like to think of it as a metaphor for dreaming big and reaching for challenging goals. That's not to say Buzz Lightyear didn't have his own repertoire of outstanding messages. "To infinity and beyond" is a catchphrase that kids and adults alike have been touting for 2 decades now, ever since we bonded with the lovable toys from Andy's room. Those 2 quotes are fantastic reminders that we should all pursue the dreams that grow in our hearts. For Woody, Buzz, and the other Toy Story characters, they shared a common dream, being loved by a kid. As Buzz so poignantly put it, life's only worth living if you're being loved by a kid. Dreams are an important part of our lives. When one of my own kids faces a setback and feels like giving up, I like to encourage them with a fun reminder, reach for the sky. Anything's possible when you put your mind to it and believe. Imaginations are priceless. One of the standouts for me in the Toy Story series are the scenes where Andy is happily running through the house with Woody in one hand and Buzz in the other. He's simply laughing and playing without a care in the world. One second, Woody will be rescuing Andy's toys from a make-believe robbery, and the next, Rex the dinosaur and the Potato Heads are saving the world from a space invasion. Today's kids may be exposed to cutting-edge electronic devices, but nothing can top using one's imagination. Pretend play is so important in cultivating a child's creative side. But with today's overscheduled family lives, downtime can be so hard to come by. Toy Story emphasized how much Andy enjoyed his downtime. He was never bored because he knew how to use his imagination for hours of creative play. How refreshing! In my episode, 6 Ways to Create Unstructured Playtime for Your Kids, I shared strategies on how kids can entertain themselves without electronics or constant interaction with mom and dad. I mentioned that boredom can also be an opportunity. According to Linda Caldwell, professor of Recreation, Park, and Tourism Management and Human Development and Family Studies at Penn State, she says, kids who are always bored in their leisure time are in danger of developing long-term boredom, where nothing is ever interesting. That long-term boredom has been linked to substance abuse, school dropout, and vandalism. And boredom doesn't just come from having too few activities, Caldwell says. It could be a sign you have too many. So avoid overscheduling your kids too. Toy Story reminds us to encourage back-to-basic play as an important part of growing up. Actually, it's a great tool to help adults to stress and enjoy unstructured time too. Express your emotions. The toys in Andy's room cherished the time he spent playing with them. Their mission was simply to bring Andy as much joy and love as possible, as we see in scene after scene. Bo Peep is the damsel in distress in a Western scene with Woody. Slinky Dog always stands by Woody's side, and the green plastic army men dutifully carry out dangerous missions. The toys just wanted to be a part of Andy's play routines. The crowning glory for any of the toys, however, was earning the coveted badge of honor, Andy scratching his name on them. That was Andy's way of saying he loved them. This symbol may not seem like one of the big life lessons learned in Toy Story, but I think it's essential. We don't often take the time to tell those closest to us that we love them. We may think people know how we feel, but when you actually say, "I love you" to your kids when they leave for school each day, or slip a love note into your partner's briefcase or under the pillow, your message will be received loud and clear. Thank you, Andy, for reminding us not to forget to express our emotions, no matter how old we are. Friendships are vital. Even folks who weren't swept away with Toy Story mania are probably familiar with its catchy hit theme song, Randy Newman's "You've Got a Friend in Me." The popular tune served as the backdrop for the friendship between Woody and his owner Andy, and later it spoke to the friendship between Buzz and Woody and the rest of Andy's toys. Although their relationship had a rocky start, the adventures that Woody and Buzz share together and their palpable love and loyalty for Andy bond them as lifelong friends. Their journey shows that no friendship is perfect, but we see countless examples of how Andy's toy posse always look out for one another and have each other's backs. In Toy Story 4, we see this demonstrated when the newest character, Forky, joins the crew. Woody, who takes his role as caretaker of his kid very seriously, hides away in Bonnie's backpack on her kindergarten orientation day because she's terrified of going to school. He witnesses her anxiety-ridden day until she creates her new best friend, Forky, a craft project whipped up out of a spork, a popsicle stick, some pipe cleaners, and mismatched googly eyes. Bonnie falls in love with her new creation and takes him everywhere she goes. When they become separated later in the story, she's devastated. Woody and the gang make a pact to find Forky and reunite the two. Forky may be a new friend, but he is a welcomed addition to Bonnie's toy family, so the toys will stop at nothing to help him. Friendships are a vital part of our lives. Psychology Today's article, Friendship Matters, says that strong friendships are a critical aspect of most people's emotional well-being. They can bolster against loneliness, decrease anxiety, and improve one's physical health. When it comes to establishing a friendship, the quality of time spent together proves more important than the quantity. Toy Story reminds us to nurture our friendships and look out for one another. As parents, we want our kids to make meaningful friendships, and it's also important to foster our own adult relationships. A close circle of friends helps to keep us balanced and grounded. Friendships can be nurturing even under the most unlikely circumstances. Just look at how pivotal Buzz was in helping Woody make one of the biggest decisions of his life when they freed Forky at the end of Toy Story 4. But you'll have to see the movie to find out for yourself. Speaking of Forky, that leads me to my final thought on this life-changing Disney series. Everyone is special. When I first learned that one of the lead characters in Toy Story 4 was going to be a toy created out of a spork, I thought it would never work. How could a spork compete with the likes of Woody and Buzz? Well, I wholeheartedly admit how wrong I was. There are many clever twists and facets that encompass this character. We could have a podcast on that alone. But one of the themes in the Toy Story universe is that every toy has a purpose. Bonnie was struggling with heading off to kindergarten by herself. It looked as though the entire experience was going to be a complete disaster, until her sweet teacher introduced her to the craft table. Tentative at first, Bonnie found items from the garbage and soon created the unforgettable Forky. This little guy was not sure why Bonnie was so attached to him. He continuously referred to himself as trash throughout the entire movie. At one point, Forky even throws himself out of a moving vehicle because he's so determined to go to the dump. He didn't feel worthy of being a toy. But the underlying theme in this series is that toys come to life as a result of being loved by a child. Bonnie saw something special in her beloved Forky. Even though he has uneven eyes and a scraggly mouth, she loves him unconditionally. He comforts her, is her companion, and is an important part of her life and her imagination. How awesome is that? What a great lesson for all of us. Don't look at someone's faults and shortcomings. Instead, focus on what makes them unique, what makes them special. Here's a quick preview of what's coming up next week. As parents, we're continuously moving in dozens of directions all day long, and it can get pretty overwhelming at times. But there is a very effective and fun tool that can help keep your momentum going, and that's using a visualization technique. I'll be talking about how to implement the art of visualization in my upcoming podcast. So I hope you'll subscribe to the Mighty Mommy podcast through your favorite platform so you'll get notified when the episode is available. Thanks for listening, and until next time, happy parenting!